I also have to thank my friend Deanna for giving me this. I was helping her move a couple months ago and she was planning to get rid of it, so I asked her if I could snag it, and she said yes, so thanks, Deanna. And now we're coming up on the end of January, obviously. It's the 26th as I'm filming this, but I will hopefully have some new stuff in here to show for February, and I will make a video about that too. Down on the bottom part here is where I keep all the eyeshadows. This is just a couple brushes. So actually what I realized, and I didn't plan it this way, is that every palette in here except for this little one is one that I got in a BoxyCharm. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 palettes for this month. That's as many as I fit in here. I'm not looking forward to a month when I'm using much bigger palettes and they're not all gonna fit in the box. I don't know what I'm gonna do then. Now that we've magically transitioned to having all these out of the box, you can see that I have 3 kind of smaller palettes and 2 bigger ones for the month. I want to start with the Fenty Beauty one just because I probably have the most thoughts on this one. It's a pretty big palette, mostly neutrals. Then they've got this really pretty turquoise blue. That's a green. And then a purple over in this corner. So my main challenge with this one is the fact that so many of these matte shades, which I don't know if you can tell, the shimmers run along this side and then dip down here, and then all of these in this area are matte. The main issue I've had is that some of the mattes are really powdery, and so if you go to blend them onto your lid, they tend to get really dusty and either blend into nothing and then they kind of go away after a short time, or they kind of explode all over your face and you have little drops of this like red in particular that are really hard to clean off. One tip that I can recommend if you have this palette and like me, you don't really know what to do with it, is that if you put it over an eyeshadow primer, it'll work a lot better. So for those of you who don't know, an eyeshadow primer is a substance that you basically put on your lid and it's kind of tacky and it allows the shadow to stick to it a little bit better. Some people just use concealer, but I find that to be kind of messy and it dries out my lid really badly. So the one that I have is actually discontinued, but I know e.l.f. has one that's supposed to be really good for about $4. Essence is another drugstore brand that also has one that's maybe $3 or $4. So if you can get a tackier base to apply these shadows over, you're going to have a much easier time working with them, and they're also going to last a lot longer throughout the day. I was actually considering getting rid of this palette because I never really knew what to do with it. But I'm glad that I tried it out several times this month because now I'm really happy and I know how to make it work for me. So if I just swatch quickly, I really love the shimmers in this palette. Like this gold one here is so beautiful. And this lighter pink has sort of a greeny yellow shift to it. And then, of course, this blue is so eye-catching. I'll swatch the blue as well. And there's the outside of the palette. Look how pretty that is. This one here is the Breakfast in Bed palette from Beauty Bakery. Beauty Bakery is such a cool brand. They are Black owned. They are an independent brand, but I think they're coming to Target actually in the US pretty soon. So you can get them from their website. I got this in a BoxyCharm. I love this palette. It's got such rich, like purpley colors. The shimmers are all really beautiful. And then there's this one navy in the middle. So I basically start out every look by using this one first, and then I'll go into one of the matte colors and then pop a shimmer on top. It's super easy, like 3 steps, and I have a completed look. And the shadows are just really creamy and pigmented. I'll swatch some of the shimmers for you. Isn't that nice? This palette is from Dose of Colors. They still have this one, but the packaging is a little different. They have a bunch of other palettes that are similar colors. I know there's a sienna one, there's a mauve one, and they're all 5 pans that are matte. So I like this one because it's really easy if you just need like a very quick neutral look. If you're traveling, for example, this is great to just throw in your bag. Actually, the month this came in BoxyCharm, I was a little disappointed because I wanted one of the more colorful palettes, but I was really glad I got this actually because it's just very easy to work with. The formula blends out great. It's 5 colors, so it's easy to create some depth in your look, but also to change things up if you use, depending on which ones you use and how much of them. This palette is the first ever palette I owned from the queen of expensive makeup, Natasha Denona. I have since bought one of her full-size palettes when it was really, really reduced, but I haven't used it yet. So this is called the Peak palette. This was exclusive to BoxyCharm in, I want to say, over the summer. So I don't think you can actually buy this off of her website. But what it is they took 5 shades that already existed in her other palettes and combined them into this, which is like a fairly simple, but still gives you a little bit of diversity. I would take or leave this orange shade right there. I don't really like orange eyeshadow that much, but if I mix it in with the brown or I put some of this really shimmery one on top, these 4 are all matte, then I really enjoy it. And the formula is just so creamy, so smooth, goes on beautifully, very pigmented, stays on forever. Just great, great eyeshadow. This palette, I have to say, I think I was attracted to it primarily because of the packaging. It's so pretty. For some reason, this color combination with the cherries and the pale blue reminds me of the 50s. I don't really know why. But the inside of it is 9 shades, 2 glitters. These 2 here are shimmery, and it's just really like a unique set of colors. I don't think I've ever seen a palette that looks exactly like this before. I own all 3 of the mini Norvina pressed pigment palettes. Ironically, this is the one that I was most attracted to on first glance, but the last one that I bought. I don't know why I did that. When I got it, it was $19 Canadian, and I was so pleased with myself because that was such a great deal. I have noticed something kind of strange about these 3 red shades is if you blend them out enough, they just end up looking really pink. I've had a bit of trouble trying to make them stay like very vibrant and red. That's actually what I have on my eyes today. Also, this glitter shade here, which I will try to demonstrate for you, it tends to sort of separate when you apply it. Like there's a lot of space in between the glitter, and I'm not really sure what to do with that. It's kind of chunky, and so is the blue one, but the blue one stays together a little bit more when you apply it. This one in the top corner is really interesting because it looks white in the pan and it is shimmery, but as soon as you touch it or apply it to anything, it becomes this sort of a pale shimmery pink. And it's really nice if you want to use it in the inner corner of your eye to kind of highlight that area. And the last thing I have to say about this palette is that I was most intrigued about this pale blue and then this sort of like pool tabletop felt kind of green. Guess which are the only 2 shades I haven't used yet. One last thing I've been using this month is the Morphe setting spray. I've actually been buying a bunch of different setting sprays recently because I never really had one in particular that I liked. I didn't know if that would be making the biggest impact on the longevity of my makeup and making it stay in place throughout the day. I've heard really good things about the Morphe one. It is, as you can probably tell, an aerosol can, and this is the holiday edition. It's usually like just in a black can with a black lid, but I got a duo on sale at Sephora for cheaper than one of the full-size cans, so obviously I was going to go with that. I know a lot of people don't like using aerosols. I have found other ones that have a better spritzer that are just like a pump, but this one is pretty good for like a continuous mist. I don't know how effective it's been because again, I haven't been doing anything strenuous just sitting around in my house all day. Like I'm not sweating my makeup off or going outside. Usually that would play a part in how long it stays on. It also has a really strong kind of scent to it. It almost smells like hairspray, so if you're sensitive to that sort of thing, I would not recommend using it, but so far I haven't had any complaints about it. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I really appreciated it. If you want more of my content, please hit subscribe. Even if you think the video quality is terrible, please consider subscribing anyway because I need to save up for a new camera. Bye!